Hey everybody, it's Coach Sheree here, and today I'm going to start a new segment called Real Talk, and so we're going to be talking about all the things and we're going to get real. Today I'm going to cover a little bit about relationships, since that is usually one of the things that most people are struggling with. I could branch off of that, but most people are really struggling with either a romantic relationship, a work relationship, a friend relationship, and so I'm going to say a few things about that today. I gotta look at my notes. The first thing I want to say about relationships is that we have to accept people exactly how they show up. If you are waiting around for someone to change, if you are thinking that you can change someone, I'm going to ask you right now, how hard do you think it is to change something in yourself? Think of a habit you need to break. Think of a habit you need to start. Think of regulating your emotions, all of these things. It is very hard to make changes, and it's impossible to change somebody else. So that's number one. You have to accept people exactly as they're showing up right now. You cannot fall in love with potential. You cannot fall in like with potential, or who you think that you can help someone change to be. Remember this. People become more of who they really are the longer that you know them. So let's say romantically, you're dating, everything's great in the beginning because usually both people are putting on their best face. They're not going to exhibit all of their toxic behaviors, but some of them are probably going to start to slip through, and that's where we're talking about red flags. If you see red flags, you need to go ahead and turn around and walk the other way, because once again, you cannot change someone. You have to accept them exactly as they're showing up right now, and you've got to remember that they are only going to become more of who they really are the longer you're with them. And that's not because they're changing. I hear a lot of people say, they're just not the same person that I met whenever we first started dating. Well, duh. And I mean that with love, but the longer that you know somebody, the more that they're really going to be themselves. And so you have to really think about that, because the toxic behavior that you ignore in the beginning will be the reason that you end up leaving in the end, whether it's months from now, or unfortunately for a lot of people, it's years from now, because they move in, then they're financially invested, then they have kids, or they're married, and they have all of these reasons that they stay, when they probably could have avoided all of that had they just turned around whenever they started noticing the red flags. Do not ignore red flags. They will be the reason that you leave in the end. I promise you. I think that's everything. That is my relationship advice, especially if you're newly dating or you're thinking about dating. Go into it being open-minded, absolutely, but accepting people exactly as they show up. Do not think that you can change people. The two things that most people are struggling with when it comes to their relationships, whether it be romantic or, once again, friendships or family or whatever, is we need to focus on ourselves. And so the two things that we need to focus on almost always with every single person that I've worked with, that I talk to, and that I have experienced myself, y'all. This is wholeheartedly my story too, okay? I'm not preaching, I've lived this, so I had to learn the hard way, and if I can save anybody, I'm gonna try. So anyway, the two things that most everybody needs to focus on is boundaries and their own self-worth. Everybody can improve in these areas, but usually if you're in a toxic relationship, your self-worth is low and you have no boundaries. And so those are the two things that I want you to start working on, whether you look up on Instagram a hashtag for self-worth and for boundaries and start following that and really putting that into your, hopefully you come across a lot of that when you're scrolling. Download an ebook, download a book, listen to podcasts. I listen to podcasts and audiobooks all the time while I'm driving or cooking, showering. I'm trying to always constantly feed myself and work on whatever area I'm struggling in. So if that's your struggle, you need to start there. boundaries and your self-worth. You've got to love you before you can really let anybody else love you. Because if you're exhibiting or accepting toxic traits, that is what you're going to attract. When you start to get healthy in yourself, love yourself, work on yourself, have a relationship with yourself, lean on yourself to make yourself happy, and seek out the things that make you happy, you start to naturally attract healthier people that are also working on themselves, have worked on themselves, are open to working on themselves. And it just kind of is like a magic thing that happens. So if you're out there thinking that you're going to be the cat lady and you're never going to find anybody, or all you attract is toxic people, you got to start with you. That is my number one. So, okay, I'll see you guys soon.